here in the secret place. Glad you come back. Today we have a short reading from Meditations of the Heart by Howard Thurman. You know, I've been reading him this past couple of years, and got a short passage for you today. We've been talking about identity in the secret place, which means we're concentrating a bit on the individual, right? But Howard Thurman here is taking it further to talk about the community and how others affect us in terms of our own spiritual walk and our own well-being. He says, community is the native climate of the human spirit. It is for this reason that we seem most our true selves when we are deeply involved in relations with other selves. Man cannot be indifferent to men. The human race cannot be ignored by the individual man. However skilled a man may be in a particular field of endeavor, however effective he or she may be in doing a job, there can be no peace of mind until a man establishes an authentic sense of community with his fellows. Wherever community at this level is ruptured, some precious parts of the self perish. It is for this reason that the experience of forgiveness, of restoration, plays so crucial a part in the life of everyone. It is of the primary relation with individuals that bridge connecting one to a group or groups is constructed. People must have free and easy access to each other who are immediately significant to them if they are to share deeply in community. This is the very stuff upon which the soul of man feeds, for it is the door through which he enters into the Holy of Holies, where God dwells. For behold, the dwelling place of God is in the hearts of men. I probably should have read you 2 lines instead of 6, but it's just so powerful, and I wanted to be able to go back to that. So, how many of you are struggling with finding a community of faith or being in a community of faith where you feel like you can connect with the people, or you can then even trust the people, or you can give out and you will be received? I bet there's quite a few of you, because I've gotten quite a few emails and correspondences from people who tell me that. And I've had my own experiences too. Sometimes we we despair of community, or we get apathetic about community, especially as you get a little bit older, when you see people being detached and communities falling apart and circles of friendship falling apart and rifts among people, and you just go, I give up about community. I haven't given up about community, but I just want you to know that if you're one who is feeling that way, feeling a little bit disappointed or greatly disappointed, yeah, so I'm thinking about this passage from Thurman, and it's putting me in mind of a podcast I've been listening to by Christianity Today, CT's podcast, The Rise and Fall of Mars Hill. I don't know if you've heard of it or heard of Mars Hill. I typically don't listen to these kinds of things where there's this big mega church pastor who fouls up and leads people astray. It's a very sad story, and it really has happened to so many people throughout the country over so many years. It happened to us about 30 years ago now. Oh my goodness, so many years ago. And I never spoke about it. I always felt like, should I be that whistleblower? And I'm a writer, so I should write a story and an expose. But every time I prayed about it, I just sensed the Lord saying, don't let your life become about this, crazy circus that you were in for 8 years. There'll be a time to talk about it. And now, as I hear Mars Hill or CT talking about the rise and fall of this Mark Driscoll megachurch, I guess about 4 or 5 years ago, it just blew up. Another case of the celebrity pastor thing, dismantling and disappointing, actually devastating a whole community of people. It pushes people away. It makes people heartsick. And if you're one of them, I know it made me heartsick in the 90s when it happened in the community of faith where my husband and I were at. If this has happened to you, or if it's happening to you, or if it's really fresh, oh, my friend, these words might be really hard to hear. Maybe you've even turned the secret place off by now in this edition, or this episode, I should say, because it hurts too much to hear about the value of community. Remember what I understand. I do. And one day I still might tell the story if it can help anyone. To this day, there's never been a public apology or a repentance or a coming back and saying, we're sorry we shunned you, or that was wrong, or yes, we went astray, or we went off. No, and so many people are still suffering. I know so many people from my situation 25, 30 years ago who absolutely gave up on the church as community, and went a number of different ways, some of whom their faith has been shipwrecked, which is just, there's heartache. But I want you to know that there is hope, and that doesn't mean, because of the abuse that's happened, that doesn't mean that that community is less important. It just means that you haven't found it yet, or the purity, the beauty, the innocence, the simplicity of a close community of faith hasn't been found yet by you or yours, but it's out there. It's out there, and it's still going to help. Thurman said this: always when community is ruptured, some precious part of the self perishes. It is for this reason that the experience of forgiveness or restoration plays so crucial a part in the life of every one of us. And I think that that's part of what can happen when we take the lid off the secrets and the terrible things that happen in some communities, that happen in some places where sin and darkness and wickedness, or even mischief, is just covered up. Don't let anybody know. When we take the lid off, and we see it, and we have to smell that garbage, we start then, at least we can start on the long road to freedom, which includes forgiveness, includes restoration, and sometimes it includes calling it out, like CT is doing with Mars Hill. I don't know if anybody has ever called out publicly the sin and devastation and shipwreck of so many people's faith in the community I was involved in Allenwood, New Jersey, many years ago. That's not my business anymore. I've left that to the Lord. But I want you to know community is out there. It's still God's idea, and it will increase your faith and your well-being and give you a place to show the love that you have inside you. God bless you today. Please leave me a question or a comment, your concerns. Let's talk about this. I'm here. Take care. Bye-bye now.